Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Time, or Coffee Break. Coffee Time is Dodge's thing. I'm very careful about not stealing that, although I'm not sure she's even doing YouTube videos anymore. Anyway, if you aren't familiar with the series, it's just me chatting about stuff. Today we're going to be talking about what I'm calling the Great Lootbox Rebellion of 2017. If you've been following sort of the gaming media lately, basically a game called Shadows of War has come out, the new Lord of the Rings game by Warner Brothers. And this has triggered what I'm calling the Great Lootbox Rebellion, because people are now fed up of loot boxes, and this coincides very nicely with the release of the Halloween event. In the background, I think I'll use the footage that I used when I was just unboxing stuff. So this is just me going through 50 loot boxes for the Halloween event stuff. Now, it's always kind of been a contentious, is it contentious even a word? I think it is. I think it's a word. It sounds like a word. Contentious issue is the loot boxes and the, is it gambling? Is it not gambling? Sort of comes into things. I know the ESRB, the ratings board, came out and said recently that it isn't gambling because you always get something, even if it isn't necessarily what you want. Meanwhile, there's stuff like in China, there are laws where you have to disclose the odds of your loot box drops. So it's, there's various sort of things going on there. Blizzard are an interesting breed because Blizzard have been doing loot boxes or, card packs in Hearthstone for a while now, and they've actually gotten very, very good at the science of it. They used a lot of the loot sort of algorithms they had in Diablo to make the system as skinner boxy as possible, I suppose. I mean, you can look at it in one or two ways. They either do this stuff and it's sort of a little bit manipulative, but it works to your favor, or they don't do this stuff and you're just completely a victim of random chance. So if you aren't aware, on Blizzard loot boxes in general, they tend to use some kind of optimization. The idea is simply being that if you don't get a legendary in a certain amount of time, then the game will increase the odds for you to get a legendary towards 100%. So if you open 1,000,000 loot boxes, you will get legendaries during that. There's no statistical chance. Even a infinitesimally words English small one. There's algorithms in place to guarantee that you will eventually get some kind of big payoff. It's the old casino trick, right? Of sometimes the slot machines have to pay out, otherwise people would just stop using them. So you've got to have those payouts. Now this, in theory, works to your favor because it's giving you a payout, it's giving you a legendary skin, for example, and it's giving you stuff that you want. Blizzard have also, I think, done a lot of good with their loot box system in Overwatch, which is a strange thing to say because I'm sure they're making, Activision Blizzard recently released that they got $3.4 billion, dollars out of loot box sales, or extra, outside of the game sales, not just game sales, but that's loot boxes, card packs, skins, mounts in World of Warcraft. I think it's might be WoW subscription services as well. I'm not too sure on how that functions, which could just be the game token system. It's also Activision Blizzard, so it's also all the stuff in Call of Duty and all sort of Activision products as well. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money that is being thrown around. Now I'm going to sort of bring it back, I'm going to pull it back towards Overwatch again, just because this is predominantly an Overwatch channel and it's what we're all familiar with. So Blizzard have done some tweaks to the loot box system. I mean, if you remember in the old days, a couple of months ago, they made a change to the loot boxes where the chances of getting duplicates was vastly reduced. Now, if the footage in the background is playing out, I might make it so that at this point, you get to see me just start getting nothing but duplicates, because I have so much stuff in my hero gallery, on my main account at the very least, where I am basically just getting duplicates and duplicates and duplicates, because the game has literally nothing else to give me at this point, which is fair enough. It's like, what is the point of buying loot boxes at this point if the game I can only get stuff from legendaries, and I can only get legendaries at a certain rate. It's very, very unlikely, I imagine, that I will ever get like 3 legendaries in a row, though some people have got legendaries, multiple legendaries in one box, so it does happen. It's just a rare chance. At the end of the day, it really does come down to how much you care about cosmetics and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to touch on Shadows of War because I haven't played the game, so I don't know exactly the huge impacts that the loot box system in that game has. I do know it affects gameplay and affects gameplay mechanics, which is a huge shame in my opinion. This is also sort of tied into a Jim Quisition did a very, very good piece recently, I think, on the $60 price point, and $60 being getting you entry to a game, but you have to pay more like $100 to get the full experience of the game. And I think that's sort of where loot boxes and stuff is starting to really bleed in insidiously and start taking up the slack in pricing for gaming. It's a whole other huge debate. In Overwatch's case, it is purely cosmetics. Now, I do know that, you know, you can see every single time there's an event, a lot of people come back, a lot of people want the cosmetics, they put in a lot of stock in cosmetics. One of my experiences as a YouTuber is learning that people really do care about cosmetics. They really, really do care about cosmetics. Personally, I can take them or leave them. I am fine with not getting stuff. But in the old system with loot boxes, it was insane because people would just buy tons and tons and tons of these things to try and specifically get one item. Now, at the very least, you can buy them with currency, but they're 3,000 coins. Which brings them on to the next point, right? Which is that this is the second event in a row where Blizzard have basically released nothing but legendary skins. And it's really clear here because there's, I think, one highlight intro, one or two emotes as well, a couple of victory poses, some voice lines, and the voice lines are always lovely, but there's very few emotes, there's very few highlight intros, and there's no, like, cool recolors. Like, some of my favorite skins are those cool recolors. The Reaper Christmas skin is a really cool recolor. Pharah has some really cool recolors. Like Skull Yata as well is just a really, really nice recolor. Those epic level skins I quite liked. I didn't mind having them. Some of them, okay, were a bit of a letdown. Some of them were okay. Some of them were great. Tracer Rose skin, for example, is one of the best skins in the game. And I love that skin. So it's annoying to me to see that they have fallen very, very hard on legendaries. Now, that could be due to a number of things. A, Blizzard have a lot, like, this is my optimistic answer, and then we'll go steadily more cynical, right? So A, Blizzard have a lot of artists, a lot of very talented artists, and what they're doing at the moment, especially in skin creation, is probably just coming up with tons of ideas, and they want to make those ideas as flashed out and cool as possible, and so they naturally transform into legendary skins. They're going, oh my god, let's make Junkrat into this, and oh look, he's got a cricket bat and all this stuff, oh look, isn't he cool? Okay, well that's a legendary skin, because they have to make all the new assets for it. So then the more restrained ideas don't get used, and therefore you don't get those epic skins anymore. Now, what that excuse lacks is then who is working on the emotes, who is working on the highlight intros, and maybe they've been busy with something in the background, maybe all their animators are tied up on something else. I somehow doubt it, but I don't know, I like seeing all the new highlight intros, the new emotes. It tends to inform the character quite heavily as all that stuff comes out, and so it's just a lot of fun, and I find it more fun than just seeing a bunch of skins, some of which you'll like, some of which you won't. Some of the holiday emotes and some of the holiday highlight intros, especially the highlight intros, are some of the best those characters have, by the way. Reaper's coffin emote, for example, is one of the best. Genji's pumpkin is pretty much constantly used by everyone because it's great. There's tons and tons of really good ones. Now, the more cynical answer is this, that Blizzard have looked at the statistics, they've looked at what people are buying loot boxes for, they've checked, you can probably do a cross-reference of what people are missing and what makes people stop buying loot boxes. So people might just go in and buy a single batch of loot boxes, okay. Otherwise, some people might go in and buy a bunch of loot boxes and then open them, and then buy a bunch of loot boxes and then open them, and then buy a bunch of loot boxes and then open them. And you can probably track what point do they stop doing that. What point do they give up? Is it a price point, and can you speculate that it's a price point, or do they get a specific item, such as a Mercy Witch skin, for example, and then they stop buying loot boxes? If people have found a correlation between people stopping buying loot boxes and people getting the legendary skin they want, then they're going to release more legendary skins to maximize profits. Now that's a really cynical answer, and they've just found in general that there might be a correlation between people buy loot boxes and the number of legendary skins. Like, that could be a simple correlation as well. So that's the really cynical answer, that's the really sort of money-driven answer. Unfortunately, I think that's more likely to be the true answer as well, is that, you know, finances do dictate a lot of these decisions. Let's not kid around here, Blizzard is a business, they have employees to feed, even though they make huge amounts of money over there, but they have projects to run as well, and that investment capital does get reused in other places. And yeah, I don't know, I would just like to see more epic skins coming back, maybe. Please, and especially the emotes. I really like the emotes. Every year the emotes tend to delight, and you know, the highlight intros also tend to be pretty spectacular, so I would like to see more of those. I would like to see more of those than skins, to be honest. We have a good stable of skins. I would also like to see just, you know, an occasional trickle of non-event stuff, especially for like heroes that need to catch up. So Doomfist, for example, Orisa needs to catch up a little bit on this amount of stuff available for them. So even just releasing a couple of non-event things and bits and pieces just for those guys to kind of catch up, and oh well, here's just a couple of Orisa and Doomfist skins and bits and pieces for them to have as well alongside everything else. And just very quickly and briefly, also going to touch on the event itself. We've got Junkenstein again, but it's a lot better than it was originally. I remember playing it a year ago with Sty, Valk, and Queenie, I think it was, and we went through quite a lot of it, and we actually had a pretty easy time of it. Even on the higher difficulties, it wasn't that challenging. Now it feels a lot more in line with what they had at Uprising. They've just really ramped up the difficulty to the point where even on like Expert, it's actually pretty challenging. So that's quite a lot of fun, and I'm sure there's going to be metas and people figuring out the strategies. It feels like the McCree and a Nano Boost combo is still extremely strong and extremely useful, but it's much harder to use at the very least because there's just way more stuff coming at you. The general quality of the skins also coming out is very, very high quality. All of these skins are pretty great. We haven't had like another Christmas May. I think Blizzard really got burnt by that one and have, you know, quite rightfully decided that, you know, these legendary skins have to have real quality. I think Zarya is the best of the bunch. I'm not gonna lie, I love that Zarya. I love that Zarya so much. I like women with big hair. It's a weakness of mine, I know, but it's still pretty lovely. Like, she just looks fantastic, and I love it. And Zarya doesn't really have a good skin aside from like the Siberian front ones, so this is a really nice one to see. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching to the end. I've been Josh, as one voice amongst many. This has been a quick ramble, I suppose, about loot boxes, about sort of some of the concepts behind loot boxes, some of the debate happening in the gaming scene as a whole around loot boxes. People want them gone. Some people like them, some people love them. But I think the cultural zeitgeist at the moment is turning against them. And honestly, I'm kind of in favor of that. That said, they make shitloads of money, so I doubt they're really going anywhere. Otherwise, we touched on the Halloween event as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy some of it. It will last for about 3 weeks, so hey, plenty of time to go and enjoy it. Thank you for watching to the end, guys. I have been Josh, as one voice amongst many, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodles.